Data Migration Studio is part of our business integration solutions for Microsoft Dynamics AX 2012. Data Migration Studio is used to perform a data migration from different sources into Microsoft Dynamics AX. Data could be coming from ERP systems, Microsoft Excel, or any other source. Data Migration Studio is easy because you use the familiar Dynamics AX user interface to configure and model migrations. To help out configuring the migration, there are a number of tutorials to the most common AX tables, included with complete mapping and example files. The mapping is fully configurable with options like constant values and transformations. We also support common migration scenarios, what are needed in a data migration project. During the analysis phase, you need to analyze the landscape, define requirements, assemble the team, etc. In the design phase, you map the external data, most commonly CSV files, to Dynamics AX 2012. Then to execute the migration project, the system can import large datasets with good performance. To export the data migration project configuration to other environments, like from test to production, deployment functionality is available. The migration can be controlled on different levels. Project for a complete overview, task to handle the dependencies, and history to see if all parts were imported correctly. When imported correctly, test can be set up to check the data imported. With Data Migration Studio, you will save on development cost and risks, since this is a standard migration product. The provided tutorials will give the user knowledge, but also this will save time in figuring out the complex data structure of Dynamics AX 2012. If changes are needed, you just change the setup, since it's a configurable tool, and that will also save time. How can you use Data Migration Studio? The expression used for a single migration in Data Migration Studio is message. In a message, you select the external blocks, columns, and the used formats like CSV, Excel, XML, ODBC, etc. And the internal tables and fields where the data should be imported in. You need to set up how the internal data is mapped to the external data. Functions like conversions, transformations, constant values, and more mapping options can be used. Large files can be split into smaller size automatically, so they can be imported in parallel to improve performance. Batch tasks are used to import data and make sure that dependent data is imported first. To improve performance, messages should be run in parallel, if not possible, then in sequence. Basically, what Data Migration Studio will do is importing data from different origins by the use of multiple messages. Most commonly, CSV or text files are used to import the data. Certain data could be dependent on other data before it can be imported. For example, when a vendor is imported, then you can start with importing items. And when items are imported, then you can start with importing bill of materials. These dependencies can be set up in tasks and on execution stage controlled in batch. Now let's enter Dynamics AX and I will show a small demonstration of the setup of a message and a data migration project. In AX, you can browse to the Business Integration Solutions area by selecting the main menu. And here you see all the different items of Business Integration Solutions. First, let's take a look at messages. The messages show you a list of all messages available in the system, so all the interfaces. With delivery, you get all these messages that are present in the tutorial project. Now let's go and take a look at the customer's message in detail. I open the message and automatically the system will open in line view for me. Well, let's take first a look at the header view. Here you see the source information, so the source document, the customer document for instance, and the target information, the target connector and the target document. Let's highlight the customer document. It's of type text file. And in that document you will see all the fields that are existing in your text file. If you want to add fields, you can simply press new, or you want to delete fields, you press delete. You can also rearrange the order of the fields. So let's close the document and go again to the line view. In the line view you see how the source is connected to the target and how the fields are connected. So name alias is connected to the source field name. You can use different target records multiple times. In this case, the contact information view. You see that this target information has a constant value named email, and for instance this one, constant value phone. So what it will do for you, it will create two contract information entries, one for email and one for phone. Changes you can make with new again or delete, or you can add different mappings. Also an option are the conversions and the transformation in your message. But this is one single message. For data migration, we want to actually import all messages. We'll first take a look at some setup of data migration, what we call tasks. In a task, and if I highlight the item, for instance, task, you will see that I can, in this case, select one item, and that item is dependent on, right in the bottom, the vendor import. If I open another task, you will see that this task contains of multiple messages. And all messages are running in parallel, so that will increase performance. And these messages are dependent on the item import. So you need to set up all these different tasks. And now at your project level, if I say project and view details, what you see in the bottom part in the tasks, how these messages are imported. In this case, first I'm going to import the base data, then the vendor, then vendor details, vendor bank accounts, and after the vendor import I can start by importing the items and item information. This can be done in parallel, and of course it increases performance. So how do I execute my data migration project with dependencies? Well, that's simply pressing a run project button, and the system will start this project with all the complete messages, with all the dependencies in the powerful batch system of AX. How can we see how the run went, the data migration, how did it go? You can open that or see that in the project history. In this project history you will see that this tutorial project has ran. There was an error, 16 were processed, 16 messages, there was one with an error. So let's take a look at the task history. In the task history it says everything was processed correctly except for the bill of material lines. There was a problem there. So now I can, in these tasks, I can drill down to the message itself. And in that message it says, okay, we processed two records had a problem. In your record history you can see what the problem was, and in the bottom field you see, okay, there was an item that didn't exist. I need to update that item, and if I update it I can reprocess it. This was my demonstration of how easy configuration is done in business integration solutions.